Well, hello and welcome back once again to Meet the Authors. We usually meet up once a month just to talk about our stories, our amazing journeys, how we became authors, and so on. But today we're really excited. I am here with Nikki and Sally. Today we're really excited to share our next book that's coming up, and it's going to be called Yes, I Can, and I Did. Are you ladies excited? Because I know I am.
It always leaves an energetic charge with you when you're doing this kind of work.
Definitely. And you, Sally, are you excited and pumped?
Yeah, I was the one who came up with the concept for this book when we were going over it, and I think it was out of someone had told me that I couldn't do something back like 4 years ago because I didn't have a degree and I wasn't, in the business and just like really putting me down. Um, and my whole like journey after that was fueled by every time I wanted to quit, I thought about that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep going. And I've accomplished so much in the last 4 years, and it's because of that. I was talking to Linda about it, and we are like, let's write a book about, and where we can share a story about a time when, we were told that we couldn't do something, or we told that, and even if it was yourself that told yourself that you couldn't do it, because you do doubt yourself. Um, and so we came up with this concept and we created the book. And I think it had a different name at the first. And we've changed it a couple of times, but I kind of like the Yes I Can and I Did. So we went with that.
Love it. Love it. Sneak peek into maybe what the title of your chapter is going to be, Sally?
Um, I don't know what I'm gonna call. I got it written. I don't know if I gave it a title. It's probably, I'm gonna do it anyway, that kind of thing. So um yeah, but I think that a lot of times, people that are
Too
the
bad you couldn't have some attitude on it, because then you could say, "What did you say?" Go
or
like,
I'll
"Oh
show
yeah."
I'll show you, right? What's that song? Oh, if my friends could see me now, right?
Mm.
Yes, exactly.
But
Oh,
that's it. I think a lot of times it's our closest friends and family that don't believe in us as much as we need them to. That I think because
Yeah.
they don't see the growth that we've had, they still think of us as before all the growth. And so they don't know the things that we've been doing. And they still think of us as, that person that wasn't accomplished,
Not only that, but even with our kids, when I think about my son who's 40 now, I could still see him like a newborn. I could still see his little fingers and his little perfect toes. And I still, there's a part of me that still sees him there. So when he comes in and does my editing or my work or takes my business partner position and says all these things, that is so bright and intelligent, so right on. I think, ooh,
How'd she know
this,
all that stuff, right?
yeah, where'd you come from?
yeah. Yeah, when I was writing this chapter for this book, there were so many things I wanted to say, but it actually came once again at the right timing, to write this
Yes.
chapter because like I've taken part in three other books with Action Takers Publishing, and they just kind of lined up. I mean, there was also lots of different titles, but it's like I started with Midlife Awakening, that I was waking up into this new chapter of my life and taking all these things, and some people thought I was crazy. And then I went into telling stories of how I never give up and still kept going no matter what, to being that ripple effect that we want to be in the world and share our stories, share our transformations, help others along the way, to this one. Yes, I can. And I did. And then once again in this chapter, as you ladies were talking about, it reminded me how I was stepping on to, I was at the airport and a friend of mine was there with me, and I was getting on a plane, going to UK from Canada to UK on a brand new journey. And I remember her saying this, and she's like, "Yeah, she'll be back." I didn't come back. I went on that journey. I had to continue doing things I've never done before, like jumping off the diving board. I was never trained, but I had to do it in order to prove myself that I was capable of going for the next job, which was actually working on a cruise ship.
Wow.
And I didn't look back because I knew if I did, I probably would run the other way and I would never have a chance to experience something. So it was proof to myself that once again, I did something that most people usually run away the other way, but I did it anyhow, even though it scared me a little bit. So I was like, you know what? This book is perfect. You know, it kind of reflect back on everything I've done so far in my life and keep going because life's too short. Gotta enjoy it. Yeah.
Absolutely. This was good. This book, on that topic, this book was perfect timing for me because I teach a program, and when I started the program, I give my students a big goal, the goal, the big goal. And I tell them that I'm going to do it with them. And I'm very sincere about my growth and my steps and my intention. And I try to do everything that I tell my students to. And about 4 months now, 4 months ago now, I actually achieved my big goal. So yes, I can, and I did was very appropriate for me because I was just so jazzed to be able to tell somebody, that I went from here to here, and it really works. And I was so excited, and it was so dynamic, and it was so everything that our mentors tell us and we believed happened. So my story is called my story of breaking free from scarcity. Not that like I lived in a scarcity place, but relative to my big goal, it was. So it's an interesting perspective, and I put an interesting twist on that, and I'm very pleased with it.
That's
Yeah, I think a lot of times we don't pat ourselves on the back enough. And I think, we think that people are going to judge us if we do. And so we don't we tend to, at least I do, shy away from announcing, the things that I've accomplished because um I don't want to put it out there. I don't want people to judge me. Maybe it is, it's that fear there, you're talking about the stepping out in fear, that
Yeah.
fear of judgment, that um but I think, a lot of us are on, you guys, and I know a lot of our authors are on that road of self-care and uh, not self-care, what's the word? Personal
Self
growth,
growth.
yeah, personal growth, and I think that, we don't often toot our horn as much as we should. And
Yeah.
that's what I think this book is given the authors the opportunity to say, hey, you know, I did something. I accomplished something. I didn't give up. I didn't, stop. But um, I kept going. I persevered, and look at what I did. Yes, I did, and I did it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's so many versions. I can imagine as you seeing all the chapters coming in, there must be a wide variety of topics and angles of sharing and stating the story. Yes, I did. I can and I did.
yeah. Yeah, we have one of our authors grew up in poverty, and he grew up in a country where, it wasn't, you couldn't, if you didn't have money, you didn't go to school. And he always wanted to learn, and so he took it on to himself to stay up late as a child and as a young adult, to stay up late and learn English, and to stay up
Wow.
late and do a lot of the things. And he taught himself, graphic designs and all this other stuff. And he helps us do our all our book covers. And it's just grown out of this, stepping out and wanting to improve yourself, and then taking the steps. He said his family laughed at him. Why
Wow.
are you staying up late and learning English? We don't do that. Or why are you staying up and learning these computer things? It's not going
That
to
is
help you out.
that
Um,
is so powerful,
yeah,
Sally.
yeah, yeah. I read his story and I was like, oh my gosh. Um, but he does a lot of our book cover designs, I mean, and I didn't even know that story about him. We were in a WhatsApp. We do WhatsApp with him. We were in a
Yeah.
room together, and we were talking about this book, and I said, "Yeah, you want to write a chapter in it?" And he's like, "Oh, I got a story." So I said, "All right,
Ooh,
go ahead." So, yeah, he wrote it for us. So it's pretty wild. Like the people that you meet, it's um this journey that I've been on. It's crazy how I can be on with somebody in Canada 1 minute, and then somebody in India the next minute, and then I'm in Germany talking to somebody. I'm like, wow, this is just like wild that I'm connected with all these people like all over the world.
yes. Yeah. That is amazing because I really like his work. I'm in five of your books, and wow, the covers really, when we choose them as a group, when we're joining you, the covers and the choices he offers are very nice and very genuine, very well thought. And he really,
Eye-catching.
yeah, and he really listens to us. Like that guy's got a lot going for himself. That's a wonderful story to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty
I
cool.
always
That
get a lot
gives,
of comments too when I do book signings, like, wow, that book really pops up when we walk by, and they get caught just by the title and the graphics and everything. So I get a lot of compliments when I do book signing on his work too. So it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
kudos to him.
make sure you read his story in there. Um,
Uh, yeah, we will.
it's pretty good. But we have a ton of stories, from everybody, and everybody's chapter, can help somebody. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's nice about these anthology, or these collaboration books, is that everyone has a story, and everyone can learn from somebody else. And that this, yes, I can, and I did. What have other people done that maybe I can do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you gain strength and validation from other people's stories.
Yeah,
It doesn't always have to be about you for your own growth and determination. And when you put these anthology books together, I find that there's a lot of strength and a lot of conviction. And there's so many stories that could be told. So you're compiling the different versions of thought really covers such a wide parameter of thinking and in a place of gaining affirmation or knowledge or move forward energy and strength when other people don't have it. It's so instrumental.
yeah, yeah. And what's nice about this book too, the Yes I Can book, is we have quite a few men in it.
Oh,
Our books are normally mostly women. And this book, I think there's like 4 or 5 men in it. So I think having that, um, the
that
different,
diversity.
yeah, having something a little bit different, and having them step up and be part of it. It's been kind of fun to read their.
That'll be nice.
Yeah. Looking forward to doing podcasts with whoever like to do
Yeah,
podcasts. It'll be interesting, as it
yeah,
always is. Yeah. And you learn so much, you're right. You learn so much from each other's stories, and sometimes people have very similar stories of how we grew up. And it's funny how we each went our own way, but we still achieved our goals.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, Sally, how would somebody go about if they were interested in writing a story like we did? How would somebody go about to get in touch with you or to get started?
Yeah, they can just go to hellosallygreen.com and hop on a Zoom call with me. That takes you right to my calendar. And then, we can talk about what the next steps are. I mean, I
Mhm.
think that's probably the easiest way. And, you guys should, I know you're both working on different books where you're looking for certain people, certain stories. And
Yes.
so, maybe make sure that you guys give um, your information so that somebody can reach out to you if they're interested.
Well, that would be nice. Whoever is comfortable with whoever, when you're listening to this, if you're comfortable with Sally, write Sally. If you're comfortable with me, write me. I also
Mhm.
look on Facebook and you'll get my half an hour free calendar uh, uh, place to go. Losing words. And I think Ava's going to post all three
Of
of our
course.
information in the bottom there. So I think we all offer half an hour consultation. Like if you're more comfortable talking with Ava, then see about making an appointment with her. But don't stop yourself because you think you're a little intimidated by Sally and her position. Write us and we'll share with you and we'll walk the steps with you. We'll let you know what projects we're doing. We'll gladly embrace you in any of the projects we're doing. But don't stop. Like if you're here and you're listening to this, you're here listening to this for a reason. Take the next step. Talk to us.
And Nikki's absolutely right. Of course, in every one of my videos, I do have links how to get in touch with us, things like that. And I usually tag people in as much social media as I can. So you can find us anywhere and book that free call, even if it's just to connect with us, chat more. If you have specific questions, things like that, we are here for you, Sally, myself, and Nikki. We'd love to help you out. And I also do offer half an hour to an hour phone call. For podcasts, it's usually 1 hour. If you'd like to book a podcast with me, you're welcome to do that as well. What else, Nikki? Are we forgetting anything or Sally?
I'd like to say that podcasts are really smart also. And it's a really good vehicle for your business. So consider that as well. But Sally is the girl to talk about. She's talk to. She's really easy to reach out and talk to. So is Linda, her business partner. But I like that.
Floating
That's
heart.
for you ladies, the heart.
Yeah. But we're all here for you. And I want to say that just briefly, honestly, I am a solopreneur or a small business entrepreneur. And I can tell you that every time I published a book, did the marketing, got that momentum and that joy and that energy going, it raised my frequency, it raised where I am, and it also increased my business. It's a really, really, really smart way to go if you want to grow your business. And you want to get into networking as well with people that you can't reach out to. Like Sally just said, there's a lot of interesting people in this book, and you become friends and you become part of a new network that you would never connect to otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what got me in my very first book was just, connecting with the other authors and it like just took me to into another whole world. So, I always tell people connect with the other authors that you maybe not even in, we've got 50 plus books right now. Um, read if you read a story in one of our other books and you connect with one of the authors, all of our authors are real people, none of them are robots. Um, and so they're all really easy to connect with. There's information, bio at the end of every chapter and how to connect with the person. So if you resonate with somebody's story, by all means, reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? I read your story in this book and I really enjoyed it and I'd love to connect with you and see what happens. I mean, my whole thing was I just reached out to him and said, "Hey, we're in the same book together. What do you have going on that I can support you with?" And that was it. And a lot of times they were like, I have a course or I do a mastermind or I do a podcast. I'd love to have you on it. So and it kind of just opened up a conversation.
Mhm.
Um, and I did it with at that both the book that I was in had 150 other authors in it. I spent
That's amazing.
I spent like a whole weekend just going behind the scenes, just messaging everybody and sending them a message. And then Facebook was kept stopping me because they thought I was spamming people. They wouldn't let me do more than so many in an hour or so
Yes, I run across that too.
back in the day. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's a great way to connect with each other and a great way to connect and tell your story and grow your business and have something now that you can, say to someone, hey, read my story and maybe you want to, buy my stuff.
It feels really good too. Like I was meeting with a business person that I want to work with in New Zealand this weekend, and I was able to say, and I'm a five-time international writer in a anthology book, and they were like, and it says so much for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It gives you a sense of authority, right? It gives you that um I think, people love to be able to work with somebody that they know or that they've connected with. And I think being able to read somebody's story or read something they've written, really like, it puts you up there, just one step above the person that didn't write. So,
Yes, yes. And I think Ava is probably more keen on this fact than I am. But when you look at other people in their businesses, you'll find that a lot of people nowadays in their credentials say that they're accomplished somehow with writing a book or an anthology or something of that nature. It's really something to have as a statement for yourself.
Yeah. Actually, this past weekend, I wanted to mention this. I had a book signing once again. And it was funny because the bookstore I went to overbooked. So at first it was myself, I showed up with my little one. Then another author showed up. We're like, okay, cool. There's two of us. And then within an hour, a third one showed up. So we had like an author passion, like a session. We kept visiting each other's tables, talking how we came about the stories. So it creates so much growth in everybody because we're like watching each other. It's like, oh, look, she's got a pamphlet, so we're learning. There's so many things like can happen, not just writing, but meeting people, connecting with others, bookshops, workshops. And this lady was actually one of the authors, was a librarian, but she writes children books, and the other gentleman was writing some inspirational life story about some lady and stuff like that. So it's just you just don't know who you're gonna meet next. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like it's amazing. I would have never been in this kind of circle if it wasn't for Nikki Hall, who actually introduced me to all this, because I was also one of those people. It's like, oh, I like to write, but I don't know where to start, and I was scared, and that's another story.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how far we have come. And like Sally said, we got to give ourselves a pat on the back, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I've been a writer most of my life, but I can tell you through this experience, you recognize a piece of yourself that has actually been there and has been quiet and dormant inside yourself that you really, I think we all want to be known as a creative sort of to some degree. And a lot of us have to say, or felt that we had to say, oh, I'm not creative. I can't do that because we can't draw. We can't do music. We don't have that perfect ear for tone and all. we're not an architect and we can't design a gorgeous building or anything. But yeah, you can write these chapters, and once you hand them in, you start feeling something. And then once they send it back for approval and they tell you how wonderful you are, because that's the part of their gift, right, Sally? And then they publish it, the the feeling you get of personal fulfillment, you think, well, I recognize this and I didn't even know I wanted this as a level of personal fulfillment. It's so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It
just wish more
probably is.
people would step into it. I think a lot of people are gun shy about writing in anthologies. And I just think more people would benefit from it. And I know there's a lot of scam places out there that take money and don't do the things that they promise to do with, especially with writers and books and stuff. So, um,
That
find
doesn't exist here.
right. Well, finding a publishing company that that values integrity and honesty and does it the right way is
Yeah. Yeah, and behind the scenes for you and Linda and the gentleman that you talked about that did the cover and stuff, there's a lot of work
Mhm.
involved. And the companies you're talking about probably don't want to really do the work. You guys do the work and you make it look easy and you make us, the writers, feel safe, feel nurtured, feel embraced, feel all the things that we would probably think, oh, I don't want to do that, because it's the totally opposite for us when we experience this with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. That's kind of what we go for. That's
Yeah.
our goal is to make the authors, because those are our clients, the people that are, writing. And so we want to make them stand out. We want to help them grow their business. We want to help them share their story, get their story out to the world, because that's how we're going to change the world, is just one story at a time.
That's pretty cool. Ava, I saw when I invited you in to consider a book, which we didn't end up writing the same book. She found her way in a different book. I saw, when I said, you want to do this? I saw yes and no. And I saw the fear and I saw all sorts of logic and all this stuff was going off in your head.
Well, because it's like actually it was mainly more like, okay, English is not my first language. Okay. Have I ever wanted to do it? Yes. So it's like, woo, yay. But it was like, can I do it? Am I good enough? And then it's like, well, I want to write a story, but am I gonna criticize and all that? So yeah, like a lot of things come flooding in, but the excitement and the journey of it all, yeah, you can't top that. So yeah, it was an amazing experience the first time, and it just gets better and better every time. That's all I gotta say. So
It really does. You have to give us your quote, Sally.
My what?
your
We
quote.
have to give us your quote on not
Oh,
just
yes,
writing
yes.
one book.
I thought you said my coat. I was like, yeah, being in a collaboration book is like opening a bag of potato chips. You can't stop it just once. So there you go.
Yeah,
It it really is true. It
it
really
is.
is true.
It is. Yeah, and I thought I was gonna be doing one, and then here I'm on number four and five, and who knows how long, how many more. But so please celebrate with us next month. I think that's when the book is launching. So please follow us so you stay in the knowing what's happening. Celebrate with us. There's so much to celebrate in life. And then if you're somebody who just loves to read, we invite you to read. Maybe you're seeking the next spark of motivation. We do have different topics to jump into. So, like the ladies mentioned, so book a call with us. Don't be afraid. We are here to grow and expand and make this life as exciting as possible. So, follow us, subscribe, and let's have fun together. So thank you, ladies, for joining today, and we'll see you guys next month. Who knows what we're gonna be talking about, but I'm sure it's gonna be something exciting as always. So till then, take care. Bye.